The Supreme Court ruled that Marbury did have a right to receive his commission. The court ruled that Section 13 of the Judiciary Act was unconstitutional. This case established the principle of judicial review, which is the court's power to determine if a law or other government action is unconstitutional. This case was the first time something was declared unconstitutional. In a 5-4 decision, the court ruled that Miranda's rights had been violated and struck down his conviction. This case expanded defendants' rights and restricted law enforcement actions. It made known that police must tell you your rights. These rights are now known as your Miranda rights.
The court agreed with the students. It was admitted that school officials had the right to set rules. However, their rules must be consistent with the First Amendment. This case established the extent to which public school students can take part in political protests in their schools. On March 18, 1963, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of Gideon. The court held that the right to counsel was essential to a fair trial. This case determined that the Sixth Amendment protects a criminal defendant's right to an attorney.
The court declared that the act was unconstitutional because it was too broad in its restrictions. The court ruled that the law did not clearly define indecent material or limit its restrictions so that they did not apply to adults. The First Amendment protections, similar to those granted to the press, were extended to the Internet. President Nixon helped plan and cover up an illegal break-in at the Watergate Hotel in Washington, D.C. The Supreme Court favored the U.S., and this case established limits to executive privileges and presidential immunity. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of the bank. This case set a precedent for the expansion of national power and for the role of the court as a referee in the federal system.
The court ruled that the Alabama law was unconstitutional. This ruling declared that a state law authorizing a moment of silence for prayer violated the First Amendment's establishment clause. This case led to improved conditions for patients in state-run psychiatric facilities around the country.
The court ruled that the men were denied their right to due process because they were not given a reasonable amount of time with their attorneys in order to build an adequate defense to the charges against them. The right to legal counsel, a capital case, was guaranteed by the court's ruling.